a ton of items virtually effortlessly, he would be a great catch to have on your team. Really would. Just by show of hands, how many people have participated in Gishes?
Yes! Dishes!
So when I say just by a show of hands, I mean don't scream also. Someone's holding a flag right now. Yes. Just by a show of hands and screams and waving of flags. So it is a scavenger hunt, but it feels like it's kind of more than that. It's also this kind of weird cult and a crowdsourced art project and generally sort of mucking things up event. And Castiel would be a great member of the team, but some people take the event very seriously. For those of you who don't know this, some people are kind of, and this is just, I know it's not a clinical term, but they're really crazy about it. And they recruit. I've discovered in the last year, they recruit people to join their Gishwas teams through a rigorous interviewing process. You have to meet with other potential teammates, and you have to submit your samples. There are teams out there that are so serious about it that they conduct mini scavenger hunts as tests for potential recruits on their team. Isn't that amazing? I learned that from one of the visual effects big shots on Supernatural, who is in Gishwas. He participates in Gishwas. And I was like, oh, really? Yeah. Does your team take it seriously? And he's like, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. We set up a scavenger hunt for applicants to our team. Kind of amazing. Anyway, I think the cast would do that. Although I don't think that he probably is great as an interviewee. I think that he comes across a little bit stilted and awkward, and people might make the mistake of not having him join their team because they think that he's too awkward to do anything successfully.
Thank you.
Sure. Hi.
Hi. My friend Grace says hi too.
Wait, what?
My friend.
You're saying hi?
Yeah, just because she said she had a friend that said hi. I just wanted to say hi because I think Gishwish and I really love you and just,
Great. Hello. Hi. Let's get this out of the way. Hi, everyone.
Hi!
Great. Hi.
Hi. So, sorry. My question is, I did Gishwas for the first time this year.
Yes. How did that go for you? Was it fun?
It was a lot of fun.
Are you still suffering from the various traumas you...
Well, now I'm suffering because of you.
No. I get that a lot at home.
Okay. My question.
At least you're not yelling at me, which is nice.
My question is, what was the craziest or most creative, you'll never forget experience in Gishwas this year?
This year? Oh God, I don't know. I wouldn't even want to try to single one thing out. There was one item which was create a kindness, I can't remember the exact wording of the item, but the item in the scavenger hunt was like, robots have a reputation for being evil or thoughtless or emotionless or something like that. Create a kindness robot. And this guy that worked at NASA and made this robot that was so big that it barely fit into a garage, and it looks like this incredibly menacing kind of Transformer-style robot. And this girl who's maybe 12 years old opens the garage door from outside, and this robot menacingly moves out, and it turns its head around and its arms, and it has these like little missile launching apparatus. It looks like something that you would definitely see in a very, very high budget motion picture. And then it started spraying her with machine gun fire of flowers. And what was awesome is you could tell from the video that she didn't know what was coming. And like this thing comes out at her and she's like, ah! And then it starts shooting flowers at her. It was pretty awesome. Also, it was awesome, and it was also one of those things that could have gone horribly wrong. Like the stem of a rose could have easily impaled her eye socket and blinded her for life. But that didn't happen, so it was still cool.
Thank you so
Thank you.
Hello, Misha.
Hello. What is your name?
My name is Swan.
Hi,
and-
Swan. That's a lovely name.
Oh, thank you.
Do you fly?
Well, I flew 30 hours from Malaysia to come see you.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Are there a lot of fans of Supernatural in Malaysia?
Yes.
Really?
Very many of them, and they couldn't join me today, sadly.
No?
So.
It's just a shame. It would be so lovely to have the entire nation of Malaysia here. I just had the image, like there's one country in specific, in Asia, that really, really loves Supernatural, so much so that they all decided to charter all of the long-haul aircraft in the world to come to Toronto for the Supernatural convention. Well, please tell everyone back in Malaysia that we said hi. Yes.
Certainly will do. I wanted to thank you for being such an angelic inspiration to the whole world with your acts of kindness and charity. And also thank you so much for sharing your amazing talent and beauty with the world.
Oh, jeez. That is very sweet of you to say. I don't feel it's true, but I'm gonna just sort of stand here and sweat a little bit.
Well, my question is, it's a slightly funny question, but...
Okay, here's where it goes off the rails. She's like, I love you so much, here are some compliments. Now, if you could fellatiate anyone in the cast. Where are we going with this?
Well, it's not that naughty.
Okay.
Since you play Castiel, I was wondering if you have a point of view on why poor Sam has no opportunities at any bromances. Because Dean seems to have cornered the market with Castiel, Benny, as well as Crowley.
That's interesting. Maybe because he's so tall, men find him intimidating? He's not as good a cuddler? I don't know. What do you think might be the problem there? That's a good point, though. I mean, has he kind of bromanced with Samandriel? Was that his name? Sam Hain? Samandriel? I used to watch the show, but sorry. That was kind of a bromance. I mean, not really. He was... No. Can't do it. Can't make the joke. There are people under the age of 40 here. I can't make that joke. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the matter?
I actually think that height differences can be overcome with imagination. So I don't see any reason why there can't be a...
Or apple boxes. On set, we sometimes use what's called an apple box, which is a little thing. It's basically a wooden box that you can stand on, and it makes you feel taller. I am sometimes standing on an apple box. Every once in a while, we'll be shooting a scene outside somewhere, and the director's like, okay, Misha, we'll be, for example, on a hillside. And the director will say, okay, Misha, you stand here, and Jared, you stand here, and we'll do the scene. And of course, now Jared is uphill of me, and he's, as you know, 8.5 feet tall. And so I'm staring at his navel for the scene. And I'll be like, guys, could I have an apple box? Or a stepladder or something so that I could... The first was in season 4. It was one of the first times that I had a scene where I was like really talking to Sam close, and it was really funny because it wasn't actually that funny, but I laughed. I had to go up and sort of confront him, and there's something about confronting somebody who looks, relative to you like Bigfoot, and so I was sort of trying to, in this macho way, confront him, but I was only I was literally coming up to his nipple, and every time I walked up and tried to act tough, I would start laughing, and it's like. And he's like, what? And I was like, you're just so fucking tall. So yeah, we didn't get anywhere. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. Hi, so I know how you feel about hypotheticals, but I've got a good one for you.
I hate hypotheticals.
No, it's a good one.
Wait, let me ask you, speaking of hypotheticals,
Okay.
where are we on the whole question editing thing these days? We're not editing questions anymore? We are?
I was told for you not to.
Not to edit questions for me, but for other people you are editing questions?
You're not editing your question.
We're not editing my questions. Okay, can you do me a favor and edit the questions? No hypotheticals.
I promise it's a good
Okay, all right. My rule is no hypotheticals.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear your hypothetical.
All right. So, The Man Who Would Be King was,
Yes.
I thought, a masterfully written exploration of Castiel's
Thank
character.
you very much. Although I'm not the writer, but thank you. I just saw Ben Edlund on Wednesday night at the screening party for the premiere. Ben is very, very, very good at writing
That makes my
things.
question better then, because I was going to say...
What were you going to say?
Cass
Just get it out.
Cass
Out with
had
it.
a lot of growth and new experiences
Yep.
since then.
Yep.
Magical Mr. Ben Edlund could be invited back to write another such episode. What would
Mm-hmm.
you like them to explore about Castiel's character in that episode?
I don't know. I mean, if I knew the answer to that question, I think that I would be a well-paid writer on the staff of Supernatural. There was something about what Ben would write that was magical, because it took something completely unexpected. He would take the show in completely unexpected directions, but just make you completely ensconced in the story. You really wanted to know what was happening, and you bought into all of the characters, and you cared. Particularly in situations that were completely absurd, like Ben, for those of you who don't know, he's the one that wrote that episode, and I cannot believe I'm forgetting the name of the episode, which is the French Mistake. So he wrote The French Mistake, which was this episode where the fourth wall was broken and we were in another dimension where Sam and Dean were the actors, Jared and Jensen, playing the characters of Sam and Dean in a show called Supernatural. It was, I probably don't have to recount it for you if you're here. You probably know it. But that was an amazing episode. And in the hands of a less capable writer, I think that probably would have been what they call in the business a fiasco. But it was awesome. So anyway, all I'm saying is that I miss Ben. And I'm not answering the
Us too.
hypothetical. Hi. Which is not to say the other writers on the show aren't awesome. I love Ben. Hi.
Hi. So I want to be an actress, and I was wondering what advice you would have for aspiring actors or actresses.
Oh, that's really cool. That's great. Okay, I have two pieces of advice for you. One is obviously quit. And the other piece of advice is don't give up. If you don't take option one, then you gotta take option two, because it can be a really long slog, and you can endure a lot of rejection, and you can confront a tremendous amount of no's in the process. And I think that there's something about the process of acting where it's really, you go to auditions and you have your own self-worth wrapped up in the process, and it's really easy when they say, no, we don't want you to think that you are a horrible human being, which in my case happened to be true, but I think that you have to have paradigm shift on that, and you have to love the process and not care what the outcome is. And not only that, approach the entire process with verve and tenacity and doggedness and relentlessness and not give up. And you have to, I think, face no's as a challenge or a dare. Like when someone says no, you have to be like, oh yeah? Fuck you. I've had experiences like that I'm sure we all have those experiences in life where, there appears to be a closed door and you just keep knocking on it until someone finally opens it and is like, what? And you get in. I interned at National Public Radio when I was young, and I loved National Public Radio. I felt about it like many of you probably feel about Supernatural. I just wanted nothing more than to work there. And ultimately, my internship turned into a job there, and it was a really great experience, but the process of getting in the door was just me calling every single day. And the person that was in charge of human resources being like, yes, Misha, what? Yeah. No, they've looked at your resume and there are no openings, they're not available. I was like, okay, well, I'll call you again tomorrow. And eventually, she just gave up and gave me a job because she didn't want to deal with me anymore. And I think you have to have that attitude, unless you're Jared, who just works from the time he's born until the time he dies, and everything is perfect. But if you're not like that, then you have to really work incredibly hard, and you have to sort of take every opportunity. And it's not about being sneaky or weird. It's just about being patient and persistent. So, yeah, and being awesome. Try also to be awesome. I think that gives you a leg up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, Misha. I would just like to say that you are my favorite actor, and you're the reason why I want to become an actor.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very sweet of you. But you haven't obviously watched much stuff out there, if that's the case. Well, okay. All right, I'll take it.
I have seen you in everything, but I'm willing not to talk about it if you don't want to.
No, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. All right.
And my question is, what do you think Cass will be like when he finally meets his father, God, in season 11?
It seems like you've seen scripts that I haven't seen. I like that. Or are you trying to trick me? Like, well, when Cass, I can tell you, when in episode 13, when he meets God, I think that gosh, that's a great question, and one that I haven't really thought about. I haven't yet seen that episode that you have read. But I think that when Cass meets God, my guess is that he's going to be pretty pissed. I would be curious to see how that gets written otherwise, but my guess is that he might be pretty pissed, and he might haul off and whack him.
Yeah, if that was my father, I would do the same.
Yeah. Do you ever hit your parents?
Have I ever hit them?
Yeah.
I have dreams. Who doesn't?
A boy can dream. A boy can dream. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi. So I recently had a photo op with you.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure you remembered me out of 300 people. Yeah. And immediately after, I began bawling my eyes out.
Sorry, I left my deodorant at... I feel terrible about that. I was trying to keep my arms down.
It was only because I idolize you so much, and I've been waiting for this moment for so long to finally see you.
I'm gonna...
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you. That is, yes, okay.
So I was wondering, how do you stay so humble when all of these people.
Oh, that the whole humble thing is a total act. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so
I practice that in the mirror.
how do you act
I
so
practice
humble?
being humble in the mirror
Okay.
at home. I'm like, all right, you stud. Okay, try dropping your chin a little bit. Pretend to be sweating. Yeah, that looks good. That's how I do it.
Okay. So I was wondering, how do you act so humble when you're?
Oh, that wasn't the whole question.
Yeah.
I'm such an egomaniac. I jumped into the middle of your question.
When you're surrounded by like screaming and crying fans every single day.
It is an interesting situation to find oneself in, just for your information. Like for me to be up here talking to you and for you to be wasting your time listening to me is very strange for me to process. I'm accepting that that's happening, and I'm rolling with it. But I think I kind of rationalize it. I was also old, by the way, that helps. I was old when I got on the show and became a part of this phenomenon. So I was a fully formed, completely insecure and self-conscious person by the time that happened. And that was those qualities were so well entrenched in me that there was no danger of them ever falling away. But I also kind of intellectually rationalized the thing. I feel like I am a part of a phenomenon. There's a show that resonates with people. There's a cast that collectively resonates with people. There is an interplay between the fans and us that is new and unique, and it's kind of a playground that we're all exploring that is mutually gratifying. But there's all of these sort of ingredients, these almost, ingredients of a witch's brew that come together to make something kind of magical that is causing this phenomenon to happen where people scream or cry after they take a picture with me. So it helps me to understand that it's not about me, but it's about this greater phenomenon that I happen to be an ingredient in and a part of, and I do see that there are a lot of great things that are coming out of it. One is, we have the capacity to engage in some charitable activity that is, I can see like very tangible impact from. Two, I get to see that there are these creative enterprises that we collectively embark on that are also really richly rewarding for myself and for a lot of people, like Gishwiz and like the show, and like these conventions. I mean, we have music and we have a banter and a conversation that I think is kind of unique. And I have a career out of it. Like, there's all these great things that are coming from this, so I feel on the whole good about it, and I also feel not responsible for it, and so that helps. I probably should have just made a joke, though, I just realized. A much better response to what you asked, but that's stream of consciousness. Thank you very much. So somebody sent me this shirt, and I think it's intended to be like a shirt that a dad on vacation in Orlando wears. It says, who are these kids and why are they calling me dad? But I thought I had to wear it because of the internet and the weird things that happen on it. The creepy sort of incestuous referential, I don't know what happens on it. It's weird. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks for asking.
I just wanted to say that I'm a big fan of the show and I love watching it, and then it was about these brothers and it was really cool, and then you came in and...
It got a whole lot better, didn't it? Yeah.
And you just portrayed Cass really well and it just changed a lot. And my question was, what was your favorite episode to film, and what is just one of your favorite episodes in general?
I think the French mistake was both of those for me. It was just so much fun to get to play with making fun of ourselves. We did this mockumentary, also like a behind-the-scenes mockumentary of the show, which probably many of you have seen, which in a way was just an extension of that, you know, the idea of just taking the piss out of ourselves, but also kind of playing with the seeds of the things that are really true about ourselves. Like we were playing with with things that were just a little bit true, you know, so it made it even funnier, I think. I also loved the episode Everybody Hates Hitler, which I wasn't in, so I probably shouldn't talk about it in laudatory terms, but it was a really good episode. It was just, Phil Sagrisha, our producer and director, did such a masterful job with that, and the episode was incredibly well crafted. I believe it was another Ben Edlund episode, but it was great. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Misha.
Hi. You guys are so quiet when you're just listening. It's like nobody's even farting.
We're nice.
It's amazing that so many people.
We're Canadian.
You're Canadian.
We're Canadian.
That's what it is.
Hi. So
I'm sorry about that rude outburst from these guys. She's trying to talk. Come on, you guys.
So like as a human being, you're like really inspirational and you do so many good things and you're just, it's crazy like how much you do. And I know for me specifically, you've helped me through a lot just by like watching you speak and the things that you do for the world. But even Castiel as a character, I get very emotionally involved with the character and he has so much strength in him and you play him so beautifully and he also helps as well as Dean and Sam, like, you know, like through tough things and he always makes you want to like keep fighting. Was that your intention, like to play him that way with all that like in-depth emotion? Because I find that I see you sometimes in him because you help people like all the time.
That is incredibly sweet of you to say. And I don't know what intention I had with Cass. I mean, when I first got the script, the character came across as pretty alien and pretty militaristic, I think. He didn't seem terribly cuddly. And one of the things that I think all actors try to do, I mean, the character could have been kind of bad, actually. Like he just could have been pretty mean or pretty nasty or something like that, but I think that we always look for ways to make even a character that is tough or you know, potentially, I don't know, inaccessible or something, to find the good in the character. Like even, and I think I've heard Mark Pellegrino talk about this, but even in playing Lucifer, like he finds ways to portray this sort of compassionate or empathetic side of Lucifer. You want to identify with any character, and so I think I was just looking for threads that could make Castiel identifiable. That's not right. Some other word. And what? Relatable. Thank you. Because he was an alien, in a sense. Like he had not been amongst humans. He was looking at them from on high for thousands of years. This was his first direct exposure to humanity. So he needed to have relatable qualities, and I think I played with that. And I think that Castiel also, you know, the scripts, the initial scripts played him as, you know, what biblical descriptions of angels show, which is that they are these really militant characters. They are out largely to wreak destruction and havoc on Earth and humanity. And so there was that quality to Cass. And then the writers looked at what I was doing and adapted the character a little bit accordingly. So he went from being this very sort of macho, tough, militaristic character to being a sort of socially awkward fish out of water who was nervous and couldn't deal with people. So they saw, like, all right, well, Misha can't do that tough guy stuff. How about this? How about nerdy weirdo instead? So that came into play.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, I just wanted to say